He's going to sign a long contract. It's pretty expensive. I actually like the move. Geno Smith in Seattle to a better roster was played out. It's a very good Seattle roster. He couldn't take him to the next level. And I would have let him go. It was a nice story. He's a nice player. But the Raiders is a much different situation. They haven't won a playoff game in 22 years. They have no stability at all at quarterback, and it's a really bad quarterback draft class. So Geno Smith, with a coach he knows and respects, Pete Carroll, and with a quarterback coach / coordinator, Chip Kelly, who likes his quarterbacks to be accurate and move well, Geno's a great fit. He's going to end up this year with the Raiders having a mid or better 97 passer rating. He'll complete 67, 68% of his throws. He'll have a ton of yards, and he'll give you stability and production. So what's interesting is if you go back since 2022 to Geno Smith and a quarterback I really like, Justin Herbert, it's kind of the same guy. If you look at the numbers, it's the same guy. Now, I think Herbert has a much higher ceiling than Geno Smith. Obviously, most people would agree with me, but they're big, they move well, and they're accurate at throwing the ball. So, and again, Geno with Chip and Pete Carroll is going to be fine. And life is all about timing. Pete Carroll is not at the age. At 73, he's got great energy, but he doesn't want to be a babysitter at quarterback, and Geno's an adult, comes in, gets it done. Tom Brady, it should be noted, also signed off on this move, so I have no problem with it. Tom knows quarterbacks. Geno's also, interestingly, Geno's 34 years old, but Geno hasn't played as many snaps as a lot of 34-year-olds. So he's like a young 34-year-old. He hasn't taken nearly the hits as most 34-year-old quarterbacks because he did some backing up. I think he backed up Eli Manning at one point. So, again, Geno's 34. He's probably got a 30 to a 31-year-old body. More than anything, Pete is stability, Chip Kelly, Geno Smith, that's what they need. Seahawks have been stable forever. Same ownership group. They don't run through coaches. Pete Carroll was there forever. Now they have Mike McDonald. John Snyder's been the GM. He's been in the front office forever. Seahawks have all sorts of stability. It's a very good organization with a good roster. But they're looking at their division. They're looking at the Rams and going, all right, we're not as good as the Rams. They're looking at the Niners and thinking, I'm not sure we're as good as the Niners. And they're looking at Arizona thinking, well, Kyler Murray's a playmaker. They got their coach. We don't want to end up fourth. And we kind of feel like we kind of hit a ceiling. Absolutely hit a ceiling. Like the move. All right, so yesterday, OKC and Denver played. So I'm not really an awards guy. I've always said I used to have a Heisman vote. I think it's silly. It's too regional.
They had a lot of financial decisions to keep their core together, and they did move off Debo. Brock Purdy's still negotiating his deal. But the Athletic reports San Fran is having an organizational reset regarding giving out extensions. I think this dates back to Brandon Ayuk last year. And the Niners are attempting to be cold, calculated, and analytical. Do you think that's coming out as
yes.
Purdy may have wanted $55 million?
Yes. And by the way, we touched on this last week. That's what the Rams are. The Rams told Stafford, here's the number. They told Cooper Kupp, here's the number. I think John Lynch and the Niners and Kyle have been way too permissive with contracts. I said this before. Debo Samuel, it's like he's a chess piece. He's not a foundational go-to number one receiver. I'm paying Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, Fred Warner, George Kittle has been terrific. There are pieces I'm not paying. I'd move off their corner. I would move off. They got too many receivers. They're fine with Jennings and Kittle and Christian and Ayuk and Pierce. They're fine.
Okay. Probably too hot of a take for the first hour. But Sam Darnold still hasn't signed anywhere. And he does have experience with the Niners. If Brock Purdy's agents drive too hard of a bargain, do they say, Brock, sorry, we're not willing to go to 45. We'll do Sam Darnold for $35 million a year, and he's our guy.
This is what
is that in play?
This is what I've been told by an executive I trust greatly. It is all numbers with Darnold, Aaron Rodgers. It's all about the number. They're all kind of the same guy. Geno and Darnold are the same guy. I think Darnold's in his prime and more athletic. Aaron's not in his prime, but throws a prettier ball probably than Geno or Aaron. He's also a little prickly. But if Aaron takes less, I would have no problem with the 49ers or the Seahawks saying Aaron wants $12 million a year less than Purdy. Absolutely, I'll take it.
I agree. Again, this is just a hot take I'm firing out there. That being said, I would rank Brock Purdy ahead of all those guys you just named. Currently, Geno, Rodgers, Darnold.
Not physically.
I don't care about physically. I want my quarterback. What are you, getting like a Herculean superstar? No, we're not throwing the javelin, Colin.
I struggle with guys who aren't the same quarterback when it's overcast.
Oh, here we go. Go ahead. Get fire off your.
Just telling you what I see. Anytime I have to go to the local weather to see if my quarterback rating will be over 80. Oh, it's drizzly.
Okay. Well, let's just file that away, though. That's kind of spicy, though. Would they move
I'm just
off Purdy
saying,
for Sam?
This is all about numbers. For the Niners, for the Seahawks, because there's no A quarterback on the market. Aaron used to be. He's closer to B+ now, which is not a shot. I mean, he's an older guy.
The other guy we haven't mentioned is Justin Fields. Now, there's just some stuff popping off online right now about that.
But wait till you hear this story I've got.
Okay. The NFL's getting wild right now.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie
I'm going to say something right now for Chicago Bear fans. And you're going to laugh, but you shouldn't. The Chicago Bears are getting really smart, really fast, and they just signed another brilliant piece, and he's a center. I love this. The Falcons, former Falcon center Drew Dahlman, signed a 3-year, $42 million deal with the Bears. I love it. So they've gotten 2 guard starters and a center starter. This is what the Rams do with Stafford. They clean up the middle. This is where Philadelphia is great. This is where the Chiefs are great. I love this move. So you know who this is not good for? Ryan Poles, the GM. He spent all that draft capital on offensive linemen, and the new Bears coach walked in and went, yeah, none of them are any good. We need a new guard, center, guard. Not good for Ryan Poles, the GM. Very good for Caleb Williams. So this is something that you started noticing about 3 years ago in the NFL. The really smart offensive, by the way, when Brady went to Tampa, where was Tampa really, really good in the O-line? Guard, center, guard. By the time Brady left Tampa, they'd had some injuries in those positions. I didn't think they were quite as good. So, now, they hit on Tristan Wirfs, but they weren't great when Brady got there at left tackle. They weren't great there. They were great at Jensen, guard, center, guard. So, I think this is really smart by the Chicago Bears. Last year, the Bears were wide receivers, sexy, headline, Chicago Tribune. Booked didn't mean anything. Guard, center, guard. This is when Andy Reid went and signed Joe Thuney to a big deal a few years ago. People were like, what? No, this is what the Rams did when they got Dotson from the Steelers. Remember, Dotson for the Steelers was going to be a backup. Sean McVay gets him, puts him at guard. He ends up being ranked the #1 guard in the league or top 2 over the last couple years. So I love this move by the Chicago Bears. This is the kind of sophistication you see with the really smart offensive coaches. And also, the Bears coach comes in and says, what did we have in Chicago? Great culture, great O-line. Boom. He'll create the culture. He'll buy the offensive line. Really smart by the Bears. So here are the free agent signings today. So Khalil Mack's going to stay with the Chargers. It's 1 year, $18 million. He's been terrific for them. Chris Godwin, Hassan Reddick stay with the Bucs. Smart GM. And J.C. Horn gets paid for Carolina. Drew Dahlman goes to the Bears. You know, I got to be honest. I'm getting real wonky on this stuff. We never talked a lot of